Hey y'all, welcome to the Moving with Millennials podcast with your favorite millennial realtors.
We are 4 top producing agents in the DFW area, and we are ready to share the good, bad, and the real life of real estate.
Whether you're thinking about getting into real estate, already an agent, or just curious about what your agent really does, join us.
Tune in every Wednesday to see what it's really like to be on this side of the transaction.
Hey guys!
Hey there!
Hey.
How's it going today?
Good.
Yes! Oh my gosh, I'm so excited that this is finally happening, that we're doing this podcast video series that we've been talking about, and it's
Forever.
here. So for those that don't know us, today we're going to talk about get to know us, who we are, our little introduction about our lives.
Who doesn't love to talk about themselves?
I know Jake does. Okay, so why don't, Maggie, you start.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about you.
Our Rookie of the Year, rock star.
Yes.
So I'm Maggie. I have 2 dogs. I'm married to my husband, Chris.
The dogs come first.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chris.
Sorry, Chris.
We just got Hank, our puppy. He's super cute. We got him a couple weeks ago. But yes, I love you, Chris, if you're watching. But we've been married for 5 years. We don't have kids yet, but we do want kids soon. And I got licensed in 2019, so not too long ago. And let's see, I was a teacher before that for 7 years, and it's just...
And you're doing great.
it's
Like,
been
you're
crazy.
loving
Great
real
transition.
estate.
Yeah.
Awesome.
She's
Awesome.
killing it.
Yeah.
Like,
For
she's
sure.
she's doing amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, Jake.
Well, I am Jake Langford, also licensed in 2019. We went through our training together at our office, so we've been kind of...
You and Maggie.
Yes,
Yeah.
Maggie and I work husband and wife.
Yes.
So licensed again at the same time. I have a 6-year-old daughter named JC, who is just like a little miniature version of myself, which is
Ugh.
fun and chaos at the same time. And freshly divorced, so single and ready to mingle, I suppose. That's the thing. So
Love it.
yeah, so that's it.
I'm Brandie. I am married and have 2 kids, Tootie and Joe. They're 3 and 2, and then we also have a black lab and 2 cats. Our life is crazy. And I got my real estate license in 2020, the end of last summer.
Awesome. And we're in
And-
your beautiful house today.
I was just gonna say, and a beautiful kitchen, beautiful
Yes.
home,
Love it. We've already taken the tour. It's amazing.
fantastic.
It's Thanksgiving we're hosting, so
Yes.
Oh,
Perfect.
over.
Yes. And I'm Mariana Pearson. I have been licensed now. Gosh, this year will be 8 years, which is crazy. I'm married to my husband, Brian. Love him. He comes first. No, I'm just kidding.
We're gonna have to
No, trust me. My cat.
in the doghouse.
We're going to have a whole episode on my cat because I love my cat. I do have a cat. Her name is Phoebe, and it's Phoebe because I'm like obsessed.
Sure, in-house friends expert.
Yes, obsessed with friends. So we have Phoebe. Again, I've been in license for 8 years now, and oh my gosh, it has been a crazy, crazy life. But
8 years makes you the grandma of the group.
I am
Yeah.
the
No,
grandma.
technically,
Thanks.
aren't you the youngest?
I am 30, yes.
Yeah,
So I'm
30.
30. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I got in. Well, we'll talk about why I got into this, but yeah, I'm 30. I was
Yeah.
21 when I got into real estate.
Ooh,
That's
wow.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's
Phoebe,
been tough.
does she live inside or outside?
She lives her life inside, but wishes she was an outside.
Because she escaped the other day.
No, well, she escaped when I first moved into my house 5 years ago. She got lost for 6 days, the worst 6 days of my life. She gets to go outside. We let her outside, but she's monitored outside.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I saw her at the door yesterday giving a talk.
Yes.
Yeah.
She
Well,
wanted
she
to
got
look out
cat.
by the rain or something, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
No, I was telling her how good her life was
Yes.
indoors.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know any of y'all's stories. I know we've known each other for like a year now since
Yeah.
you guys joined the Market Center. But tell us, I have no idea why you guys got into real estate. So, Maggie, you want to start? Jake?
Yeah. So, real estate was always in the plans once we had kids, and I just wanted a job, that was more flexible, but this opportunity fell in my lap.
Little did you know.
Sooner than later, yeah. So we don't have kids yet, but we definitely want them soon. And I wanted to get started on this career, gain that momentum, so that when we did have kids, that I'd have that business built.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you've done that.
And we definitely should have a episode about kids and life. I mean,
Yes.
you two are
gosh.
parents.
Yeah.
Maggie and I are not. We both, I'm sure you do the same. I stress about what my life's going to look like with kids and
Me
real
too.
estate. So
Me
we're
too.
going to have an episode just about
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Yes.
Jake and I will give you the insights.
Probably,
They're going to
yeah.
talk us out of it.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
and like Jake is a single parent because you're divorced,
Right.
and my husband works in Chicago, so I'm a single parent also and working, and not single parent.
Right.
You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Seems
And
like-
so
yeah.
my husband's gone 9-10 months out of the year, so I am
Wow.
single parenting with 2 toddlers who just
Right.
run over me.
Yeah.
And similar, I mean, I have JC 50% of the time. So there are times, like you said, it's just a balancing act. So,
Yeah, you have to
but we
figure
do
it
have
out.
that kind of similarity. So, I got licensed 2019, and it really is kind of similar. It was always in the plans for, at that point when I was married, we wanted to own rental properties. So we figured one of us would get our license. And I was just kind of a professional kind of fork in the road and decided to make the jump over. So that's why I transitioned. I was in interior design for home builders before. So kind of in real estate world, but not exactly on this side of it, which is different. So it's been a good transition. That background has been really good as like a base for product knowledge and things like that for my clients. So it's been super helpful. But yeah, it was time to make the move.
Yeah.
Do you use your interior design now with clients? Like, do you offer that for your clients?
In some ways, like I've got clients that will do flips or we'll do remodels after, and I'll go through and help design. There've been, I have a client right now that the house is listed, and if we don't have the progress that we want to, then we're going to take it off the market and I'll redesign it as a full remodel. So
Yeah, cool. So
Yeah.
everything's really come full circle for you.
Absolutely, yeah, which is good. I'm love the creativity portion of my job before, but did not like necessarily other portions of it, management-wise. I was managing, so it was going in too many different directions for me.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And you're killing it too in your first year. We'll talk about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yes. So I got my degree and I started writing, and I love writing, and my first job in the real estate world was writing for a group out of Washington DC, which was Lux Homes, and so I wrote listings for them.
Oh wow.
And then my husband's career kind of took off. My husband plays football for the Chicago Bears, so
Yeah.
he got on a team.
Just a small thing.
Second.
Jump right over that. You're just,
No big
Well,
deal.
Jake
Not a
told
big
me that
deal.
one day, and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Yeah.
And I'm not a big football, so I'm like, oh.
she's not a big football, not a big
Yeah.
football fan.
person, girl, whatever.
Gay
so I was just
sports.
like, I don't know. Okay, really cool.
Yeah, so we don't tell anyone. Actually, it's so
Yeah.
funny. Like, we'll go places and
You should
and they'll
not
be
ruin
like,
this.
Do
"What
people
you
literally
say?"
recognize him?
No, in Chicago.
Okay.
Like, and it's normally like the 12-year-old boys or like 35-year-old men.
Would not have been this 12-year-old boy. But
So like, it's so funny. But like, if we're somewhere and someone's like, "What do you do?" I never know what he's gonna say, because sometimes
Yeah.
like I work
So
in
entertaining.
logistics.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, today
Where'd
you
that
work
one
in
come
logistics.
out?
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like, because once you tell people, they change how they
Yes,
Absolutely.
how
I
they
get that.
treat
Oh,
you,
for sure.
and we are like the most normal people ever, and we want to keep it that way.
Not that I would be like, oh, you have a certain persona. I would never know that you like.
Yeah, and we
I
want
don't know.
that. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to be like, the football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
No.
important for your kids too.
Yes,
Yes.
we want them
Yeah.
to never feel like
Yeah.
they're above anyone because of his job. Like, we always say, Dad's a normal person. He just has a really cool job.
Yeah.
And that's how we like say it.
Yeah, and I love that you like have your own career. Like your
Mhm.
identity is not in your husband,
Right.
so it's like you've got your own thing going.
Well, and football doesn't last forever, right?
Yeah.
So how
Yeah.
this
Did you get
happened
hurt?
was we started seeing like he's 33. So I think last year he was the second oldest person on the team. The average NFL lifespan is like 2.5 years.
Oh, wow.
He's going into his 8th year. So
Oh.
we
Yeah.
know like it's not forever. NFL stands for not for long. So
Not for long. I like that.
so we just wanted to kind of start transitioning into what life looks like after football, and me being like the doomsday prepper, I was like, we have to do something to where when you're done with football, we're not just going through our savings, trying to figure out what's next. And so
Yeah.
one of my best friends, Lindsay, which I think you guys follow her, she is killing it. She's been a realtor for 7 or 8 years, and I just saw that she lives this life that she gets to work hard, play hard, and she still is a mom. She gets to go home, like what you were saying, like you have kids and you have this flexibility, and it's still like, we'll let me do my thing and Pat does his thing, and we can come together and be parents.
Yeah.
So
I love that. That's awesome. Okay, so my story is not anything like crazy, but I got into real estate. I actually went to school for marketing, got a marketing degree, and people ask all the time, oh, is that why you got it? And I had no idea. I thought I'd be like in this high rise, making a bunch of money, and like living this marketing dream world.
Like design or like social
Just
media?
well, social wasn't big. I mean, this was 8 years ago, and social was becoming big for businesses. It's definitely much bigger now. But no, I just thought, okay, I don't even know what I thought I was gonna do. I just wanted to make money, right? I don't know.
You're off.
Yeah, and so my last year in college, my dad, who owns a staircase and trim company, he also owned some commercial properties. I was helping him manage those on the side. And so while I was kind of doing that one day, I was like looking at a floodplain or something because we were going to purchase another commercial property, or he wanted to. And it just hit me that I was like, this is really interesting. And I've never had something interest me like in college. Like I did well in college, but it never was something that I was like, I want to know more about. Yeah. Right. And so we were looking at this floodplain, and then at the same time, one of my friends from from a CrossFit gym was saying, hey, I'm gonna get my real estate license. I'm like, why not? So I got my real estate license, had no idea about real estate. I mean, at that point, I was pretty sure that it was like car sales where someone sold a house to the broker and then that brokerage sold the house. So I thought of iBuying, like before iBuying was like a thing. So I had no idea. So fast forward, I got my license, still had to figure it out. I was 21 years old, like baby Mariana, just trying to make it in a grown-up world. And
Were you married? Yeah. Were you married?
I wasn't married, but I was with Brian. So he's basically been with me my whole real estate career. So like he knows that crazy that we go through.
Right.
And it's been a process. I mean, from the last 8 years, which we can get into more detail in, I think, other episodes and stuff. But it's like one of those things that once you start to figure it out, it takes a minute because you have no idea what. I mean, y'all just went through this, that you don't realize what real estate is like until you actually do it. Right. You think you're just going to be selling all these houses and making money.
Yeah.
For sure.
No.
Well, I think let's talk about that. Let's talk about like a misconception of like either what you expected real estate to be and what it's turned out.
Yeah.
Or what other people maybe told you it was going to be and then what you learned it was.
Yeah.
Because I think for me, I mean, I'll start off. I think we all, in a way, thought we were getting into something very flexible. You'll hear realtors say that all the time, or newer agents say like, I got into it for flexibility and freedom. I didn't like being at a desk 9 to 5.
It's a joke.
And flexibility, I mean, that's kind of like a double-edged sword because certainly like I do have the flexibility to take time off to go do things with JC. But then that also means that flexibility then turns into me working at 9 or 10 o'clock at night after I put her down for bed. So that flexibility works like in both ways. So I think that's one of the, like, that's kind of a misconception I thought or had going into it. It was like flexibility means that like I'll work this amount of time and have like this amount of results. It's like you still work for all that. It's just in different blocks, I guess.
And I think realtors we literally it's like we work 80 hours to avoid an 8 to 5 job.
Yeah.
You know?
It's so true. Oh my goodness. I know. And like teaching was like nonstop. Like you don't have any time in the day because you're like teaching kids. And then the weekends, like in after hours, after school, you'd be working. So it's like essentially the same. It's different. But now it's just like I struggle with
your life is real estate. I mean, we literally eat, breathe, and sleep real estate. I dream in my dreams walking through houses or writing a contract. It's just
or like submitting the contract. You're like, oh, did I send that email the right way, or did I do this? Like wake up in the middle of the night, you're like, okay, it's fine.
Chris said that I woke up or I was sleep talking, and he said that I was saying I need this market to calm down. I was like, that's about accurate.
So
true. True.
It's like it's crazy, but I mean, like Jake said, it's just like your block of what were you saying?
Like your time blocks. It's all the same amount of time.
Right.
It's just
when
they're broken in smaller blocks or different times. You know,
Uh-huh.
like I may have like Wednesday morning totally free, but then Saturday all day I'm showing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so I think flexibility is just, I think, one of the most common misconceptions.
And I think people too think like you can work anywhere, like you can like work at any time anywhere, which is fine and you can, but like you and I had this very first talk and I was at the Florida Bama Yacht Club, like on a beach, and I had my computer out with the MLS in Pensacola, Florida, working because I was on a work trip kind of, but you don't stop. Like there's no stopping at all. Like there's no vacations, there's no off switch.
Which isn't the goal though.
That's not the goal.
And I think we also have just like the hustle bone.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
We love the hustle.
And that's something we can talk in another episode because you guys are still first year in or getting into your you're in your second year now. But I remember, it was like that was my life. Was I didn't go on vacation. I was afraid to tell my clients. I was afraid to tell people people on social media that I was on vacation because I thought
You'd lose
they
them.
thought that I wasn't working
Right.
and that they are going to go to another agent. So there's a scarcity mindset, which we'll talk more about, but that boundary setting
Right.
is huge and
Yeah.
something we all struggle with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I struggle
Because you
big
always
time.
want to reach the next. You always want to do
Yeah.
the best, right? So
Right.
then it's hard to think about like slowing down and
Yeah.
easing yourself back when you're
Yeah.
like,
It's kind of toxic in a way. It's
Slightly.
like next year, you're like, because I had a great year last year, but I'm like, but I want more, and I
I
need
know.
to do more, and then next
Right.
year I'll do more. It's always more.
Yeah.
So,
Work-life balance is tough, or I struggle with it
Yeah.
all the time because
Yeah.
I'm
I think
working
it's a
so
myth,
late.
though.
Well, and I think that's one of the things like that we've been taught is it's like a counterbalance. At one point, work may be a majority of your
priority.
life and a priority, and at one point, family then is gonna have to, swing this way, and then it swings back and forth. So I think that's important to know. But I mean, I think a lot of it comes down to setting boundaries too. Like I told my clients during consultations that like I have my daughter 50% of the time. And during that time, I don't anticipate handing her off to a babysitter. So if we schedule showings, she's going to come with me. She's 6 o'clock and she's a little mini agent. She knows to open the doors.
I love it.
She knows, how to check lock boxes now. So, and really, I haven't never had a client complain, and it's never been an issue. She usually is. I mean, she's a great little assistant.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I've done
I
the
think
same.
it's just about setting those boundaries and expectations with clients. I also like when I go to town, I try to tell people like I'm going to work 15 minutes a day. Like catch me in that
Right.
15
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah,
You're
setting
so
that
good.
expectation.
Yeah, like I just try to be like, because I guess now, like having gone through a divorce and whatnot, I just realized like time is precious in a way. Like that's so cliche to say,
It's
but
true,
now
though.
I've realized like, nope, my time is really still my time. Like,
Yeah.
and that's I think one of the benefits of not being on a salary job. My time doesn't belong to anyone else.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah, so true.
which is amazing.
Very true.
Yeah, so what was y'all's first year like? Like, I'm trying to remember back, but you guys probably know better than me.
Maggie,
It
I
was
feel like
crazy.
you killed it. I
It
think you
was
need
nuts.
to say about
Well,
your
Maggie
first year.
killed it. Yeah, Maggie
Yeah.
had a good year. And if you
was-
didn't catch at the beginning, Maggie was Rookie of the Year last year at our office. By the way, we're all we currently, like, we don't work together. Like, we're not like agents that,
We're
are on
on
the
a
same
team.
team. But we are realtors in the same area where we help each other, like, in our businesses.
For
Yeah,
sure.
like when I was in Florida, Mariana showed a house for me. Like,
Yeah.
it was like we help each
We
other
help
out.
each other out.
And it is
Just-
that we just
For sure.
a community together to
Yeah,
work.
it's so important to have that like system. Like you guys met at Ignite, like
Right.
one of the trainings that they do at our market center.
I met Maggie on Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Social
Several.
media
I
besties.
know.
I love it. And I'm sure I just met. Well, I think I met Maggie or Jake first. One of y'all in
We were
classes.
like, and what's funny is like we were at Ignite. I think when we did it, was it 2 weeks long or 3?
3 or no,
Three.
2. I can't remember.
We did not like we sat on opposite sides of the room,
Yeah.
meeting, and just like
Really?
slowly, like each day,
We
we
get
kind of
closer.
migrated closer until finally we were sitting next to each other and talking and becoming friends.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it did not like we started off like on our
I
opposite
know.
sides.
I love it. I forgot about that.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. And now
Did you
are.
take Ignite too?
Yeah, so 8 years ago, they still had Ignite, which was not the same Ignite that you guys had. I mean, in that Ignite, they did not talk about texting, social media. They didn't talk about any of that. It was you.
Well,
were
Grandma,
going-
did you have those things?
I'm not a grandma. Do you hear this? Like, I'm the youngest one.
OG, I guess.
At the time, yes. Like I texted my sphere, my group texted. I mean, at 21, like I was the youngest one. That's why when I saw you guys, and I'm like, young people,
Yeah,
people my age,
Right.
y'all probably felt it come
Yeah.
on. Where I was like, I'm gonna be
It's just
friends with
friends,
you.
yes.
Because I'm not saying that we don't have any young or agents at our market center, but majority of the agents in real estate at that time were, at least 40s or older, which was not a problem.
Right.
And I've become really close friends, like with Marissa, one of our real estate friends. She's 22 years older than me, but it just wasn't. We didn't have that same kind of conversation about
Right.
texting and social because that
Right.
wasn't her life.
Yeah.
It's easier to just get together and like when you can relate on like a different level. We're
Yeah,
all
for sure.
30, 31, 32.
Yeah.
32.
We're millennials.
I told someone the other day that I was 31, and then 5 minutes into the conversation, I was like, "No, I'm 32."
I'm 32. I do that all the time.
Yes,
Oh.
Yeah.
I had to think about it. I
know.
forgot.
You get to a point where it just doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Maggie, 32. How-
32.
32,
31.
31, 30. Okay, so we're literally
Yeah.
within years of each other.
for sure.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of, when I came to y'all about this whole podcast video idea, which you guys took so well, I was
I'm
like,
so
Okay,
excited.
I'm so excited.
loved. I was like, we're just so like-minded. We've already have like our group chat together where we talk all the time. Like, if we're stressing, we come to each other. If we have a problem on a contract, we come to each other. And we're
Yeah.
like, why don't we bring in, our, people we know and other agents, because I don't know about y'all. I have agents that call me all the time with questions, and this is a great way for them to now have that resource.
Absolutely.
But we're like-minded, yet we're so diverse because we have such different backgrounds and, stories about us that we think differently enough to where this is going to be really good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I think, and even we're talking about first year, I think, like when Maggie and I first started, I don't know, there just was like, we did things so differently and, but like, get along so well, but we each had just different mindsets about like, and it really comes down to like what your strengths are.
Right.
And so I think part of that is like identifying your strengths and then really using those to like maximize your results. I think whereas a lot of people focus on like fixing their weaknesses, it's just much smarter, much faster. Like you may bring something that's like a level 2 for you up to like a level 3, but that's not going to make end results. Whereas like something like a 7 at, make that an 8 or 9.
Yeah.
So I think like, just our backgrounds, what we're naturally good at. She just is really gifted having a teaching background that like, it just makes you really able to like patient and like educate people through the process. So I think that's a strength. But so again, it's diversity, and just how we handle things is all different, but it's good to have that balance of the 4 of us at times as we're like negotiating and saying like, is this the right thing to say?
I know.
Because there are times.
Don't say that.
It's like,
Delete
no.
this.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So I think that's super helpful to have that.
Yeah.
For sure.
And even just like more so like the 2 of us like in our first year had that balance as well. And I think it was really helpful.
Yeah. Oh yeah. In your first year, like I said, when I got through Ignite, that's where Marissa and I met. Like having that, it's like your Ignite group or like the people that you start real estate with become like your graduation class.
Right.
You become very familiar with them, but to have that support system is so huge because even though real estate, like we have our own business, it can get very lonely. Like it can get very lonely where you are, the one making all the decisions, about a transaction or anything if you don't have a team. So having those people to talk to is so big.
100%.
So I think we are all individuals, but then you do have a team, correct?
So it's me and an assistant. Okay. Yeah, so I guess I didn't even talk about that. So Modern Nest Real Estate Group is how I brand myself. So that's who I am. So it's me and Rachel, my assistant. So it's just the 2 of us. We brand ourselves as a team because there's 2 of us. But I want to eventually grow that one day. It's not something I want to do right away. That's a whole nother ball game. So
It is, yeah.
yeah. And you guys brand yourself though, like as yourself still, right? Or I say still, but like as your individuals.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, eventually I think I want a team as well. Mainly to be able to step out of the sales portion. So like my long-term goal is to be more on like the educational instructional side of things and maybe productivity coaching. So I'd like to have a business that's big enough that it continues to run without me having to be in it every day.
Yeah.
But then again, that's a 5 to 10 year goal.
Yeah.
It takes, I think a lot of times people get into real estate, not only thinking flexibility, but they think like quick results, quick money. It takes a long time to build a business. Like even you, it's like you've built a really large brand and a really large business, but you're still have higher goals that you're trying to build too.
Right.
So I think that's,
and that is real estate is if you are a business, like you are starting a business, you're, creating a business, and your first year in any business isn't like, you're spending a lot of marketing dollars, things like that. So your first year isn't what you think.
You're a startup. and you think
you're
of
a startup company.
Yeah, startup companies and how they struggle those first few years, and some of them take off and some of them don't. So I think it's important to have that mindset of like you're in a startup and there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that first year.
For
Give
sure.
yourself grace.
I think a lot of people are like, oh, real estate, this is such a good time to get in. And it's not easy. I mean, it's like you have to really work at it and it just doesn't.
No, absolutely.
I think people discredit how hard it really is. Like how hard you have to work at it.
To make it.
Not that it's hard, but like that how hard you have to work. How many hours a day you do have to put in. You can't just work 2 hours a day and then expect to sell 50 homes a year. So
I was gonna say you can work 2 hours a day.
You have to, if you want to be
Yeah.
successful in this industry, you have to hustle and you have to work really hard.
So we had a little bit of a technical difficulty. We are still figuring out our setup here on our podcast. So it did cut out for a second, but we are glad to be back for just a couple more minutes.
Yeah,
right?
sorry. Jay kind of put his chapstick on.
That's the real reason we paused.
Why.
Sorry, guys.
So, yeah, we were getting into our first year in real estate. We already kind of dove into like how just different it is from what you think. But I honestly, I love, like we're talking about how hard real estate is. I kind of like that it's hard. Like I like the idea that not everyone can do this. I don't know if that's like weird of me to think, but when my clients, because I have clients that say, "Oh, I would never be able to do what you're doing," I'm like, "Yeah, I know." So we're like,
right.
I don't mean that in a mean way to them, but it's like it is a lot. It is.
It takes a special mindset. It takes thick skin because you hear all kinds of things. It takes a lot of grit. And it takes stamina. I think that's one of the main words I would tell people is stamina. It's a long game. Transactions can be long.
Yes.
Hours can be long. Patience needs to be long.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts, a lot of like keeping on top of things, and that's so important.
Yeah. It's like an everyday roller coaster.
It is.
Yeah.
Did you guys do athletics growing up that you feel like helped push you in this career?
Or not even athletics, just anything.
Like that.
I need to work out more. That's for sure.
like helped you be the hustler in real estate that you are. I know me and Jake's answer.
Yeah.
So I don't know if yes.
Athletics are really like any, I think a lot of like, I tell people you need to have done something in your life that was regimented and structured, whether or not that was band, football, where you had like be at a certain practicing time, or any sort of sport or function. I don't care, like learn to play the violin or cello as long as you had an instructor that like said, these are your expectations and you have to meet it.
Yeah.
That helps to be in this career, I think.
Yeah, I'd say mine is like more like just, that's who I am. Like if I have something that I'm really passionate about, I'm going to give it 100,
You don't know anything different. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but if it's something that I'm not passionate about, I'm not really going.
Yeah.
Not really motivated to do
Yeah,
it.
right. Like,
yeah, that sums it up.
And I have a lot of, I think the same thing for me where it's like I've always had this like OCD perfectionism, and which sometimes isn't good. Like I have to sometimes slow myself down.
Perfectionism is,
it's bad. But I think, having that system, like you were talking about, like because we're all in coaching together, so it's important to still have coaching and, people coaching you along, but being coachable is a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. Whereas we both did like elite level gymnastics and cheerleading, so it was like, I don't know, pounded into us from a very young age that like perfection, you keep going no matter what, you don't stop, just keep going. So I mean that's like, I think that's where we get it from, but I'm similar. It's like that same perfectionism and that competitive side that's like, I'm not gonna not produce, like I'm gonna get stuff done.
Do y'all know your DISC personality types? Do you know what that is?
I need to retake mine.
I need to retake mine
because it was like
too.
an I and something else, and I just feel like
it's not accurate.
Yeah.
So
I need to redo mine.
Oh gosh, mine's totally accurate.
Really?
You're
was
not
a DI.
focused
No.
when I
What?
a CD.
A DC. I'm
DC.
but I'm so high on a D that the C actually doesn't count. So it's just I'm really just a D.
Just a D.
And
And I think that pretty much sums me up.
No, but I saw Lindsay post
And
you can take it again.
Right.
So I'm gonna take it again.
Yeah, we do have
I'll
we
do
have
it
the
with
free
you.
resource within the office, so definitely do it. I think it's super helpful too as I'm like working with clients, I can kind of identify who they are and it helps because communication styles are so different.
Yeah. So I love the DISC. The DISC is a personality assessment test, and I think it's free to just take. But they have an adaptive style and natural style. So naturally, I'm an SC. Like I care a lot about what people think about me, which is the S, or in caring, and then C is very like compliant, so very system and everything else. But then adaptively, it was really interesting. Like I'm pretty much across the board. So like depending on, and I've always called myself like this little chameleon with my friend groups because they're all so different, but we're all friends, and I'm like,
You get along with all of them.
I get along with
like
so many
you're able to
different.
just, like, get in.
I can see that for you.
Right. So depending on who I'm around and how they are, like if you, like I'm around this high D right here, this D, then I'm going to be a little more of a D. Like I can pull that from you that you don't want me to like give you my sappy love stories.
No, please don't.
I know.
Please don't.
So it's just interesting, but I love that, and it's so important to know that for us as agents because we have to know who our clients are, what they prefer, and what style they'd like to, who they'd like us to be.
Yeah,
for sure.
So yeah, you guys should retake it, and then we could do like a whole
Let's
episode
do an
on
episode.
that.
That'd be
So
fun.
100%.
I think we're getting close to being wrapping up time, but one last thing is why we did the podcast. So for each one of us, kind of what your goal is or what you want to accomplish out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think our goal ultimately is to be like like the real. Like there's so many like stories on the news and online and so many different views, and a lot of it's the extreme stories more than it is the real stories. So being that resource for our clients and people that we know, but also again, we get so many questions from real estate agents that want to know how we do business. So it's gonna be a little bit of both. I think we agreed on that.
And people that are interested in becoming agents, being a resource for them, and them getting, some insight on what it's really like. For me too, I think it's just important to, it's such an expensive and emotional transaction and process for people to go through. So I think it's important to kind of know that agents are also people. So as, it's inevitable, things are going to come up. At least maybe if clients or someone they're watching us, they say, look, we're real people, we care about it just as much, and kind of see like our passion about it. So I think that's important too for me.
Absolutely.
For sure. Agreed.
Yeah, so I think that wraps up our first episode. We only had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we hope you guys stick around and listen to the rest of our episodes. I'll tag like all of our handles on social media, Facebook, Instagram, all that. And if you guys ever have any topics that you want us to talk about, we've got a going list that we're going to try to dive into each of the topics. But if there's anything you guys want to hear, let us know. We would love to talk to y'all and share everything about real estate. We eat, breathe, and sleep it. So we're going to talk about it.
All right.
Yes.
All right,
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Talk to you later.